Hello everybody, I, Dr. Mrs. MANJU KOHLI, once again before you with the second part of the video, sentences. Today, I'm going to teach you about types of sentences. So should we start? Yes. So I'm taking up types of sentences. Basically, there are four types of sentences. Basically, there are four types of sentences. Basically, there are four types of sentences. I start with number one, assertive. Number one, assertive, and the other name is also declarative sentences. Declarative sentences. Number first, assertive or declarative sentences. First and foremost, I'm giving you the meaning of what do we mean by assertive. If I take this word completely, assertive, it means factual. Factual. Okay? And if I take this word, I take it up to assertive. If I take this word, assert, it means facts. So the definition is very clear to you. All factual sentences are called assertive sentences. Assertive sentences. Now one thing I want to make it very clear to you, facts are basically of two types. How many types of facts are there? There are two types of facts. Number one, human facts. Human facts. Facts which are related to human beings. Human facts. Number two, universal fact. Anything which is related to entire universe and it is very factual. It is called as universal facts. So I'm giving an example of both the sentences. Number one, see, assertive sentence which tells us about some facts, or all factual sentences are called assertive sentence. I made it very clear to everybody that facts are basically of two types. Number one, human facts. Number two, universal facts. Now I'm proving this with the help of an example. First example, I'm taking it. My mother is a very good cook. Okay. And second sentence, I'm taking it. Mother Teresa was a great social reformer. Was a great social reformer. We have taken up two sentences. One, this is about my mother, lady which is known to me or to limited people. So, this is a human fact, and Mother Teresa, world-renowned lady, known to everybody, and this is a universal fact. So, I hope so. It is very clear to you. Assertive sentence, I repeat once again, assertive sentences are those sentences which are based on facts. Facts are basically of two types, human facts and universal facts. I repeat the definition once again. All factual sentences are called as assertive sentences. This is very clear with the help of an example. My mother is a very good cook, human fact. And Mother Teresa was a great social reformer. Universally proven, a great celebrity, a renowned reformer. So this comes into the category of universal fact. I hope so. Sentence number 1 is clear to everybody. Now moving to the second part of the sentence, second type of sentence. I'm taking it as interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences. Second type of sentences, interrogative sentences. Okay. Now interrogative sentences are those sentences which are question based, or sentences, all question based sentences, all question based sentences are called interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences. All question based sentences are called interrogative sentences. It begins with WH words, how, even how, and it ends up with the question mark. In certain cases, it begins with auxiliary verbs also. But in those cases where the sentence begins with an auxiliary verb, the subject has to be added just after the auxiliary verb, and then again it ends up with a question mark. Please remember this. So I'm just giving you an example. Number 1. Where do you live? Remember, we should get a clear-cut answers also. Where do you live? I live in Sagar. Where do you live? I live in Sagar. I'm getting a clear-cut answers also. Number 2. How are you? How are you? The answer is, I'm fine. Thank you. Now, I'm going to construct interrogative sentences with an auxiliary verb, showing it how first the auxiliary verb has to be added first and then the subject. Example, number 1. I'm starting sentences with auxiliary verbs. Starting. What are auxiliary verbs? Helping verbs. So I'm starting with, are they going to the party? Are they going to the party? The answer will be yes or no. Okay, this is first example. Second sentence, has she purchased her notebooks? Question mark. So it's very clear. Interrogative sentence. Once again, I'm repeating it. What are interrogative sentence? All question-based sentences are called as interrogative sentences. It begins with either WH, HOR words, and it ends up always with a question verb. In other case, when it begins with an auxiliary verb, remember the rule? Auxiliary verb and then the subject has to be added. Make it auxiliary verb. The sentence began with an auxiliary verb and then we have added the subject. So this rule you have to remember, and it always ends up with a question mark. So number 1 was assertive sentence. I'm repeating it once again. Number 1, assertive sentence, all factual sentence. Number 2, interrogative sentence, all question-based sentences. I'm coming to the third type of question, which is called as an exclamatory sentences. Now, third type of sentence is exclamatory sentence. I'm giving you the definition of exclamatory sentence. What are exclamatory sentences? Sentences which shows sentences which shows human emotions. Sentences which shows human emotions are called exclamatory sentence. Okay? Now emotions are basically 5 types. Okay? 5 types of emotions we are taking basically. Number 1 is happiness. Number 1, happiness. Number 2, it is joy. Number 3 is sadness. Okay. Number 4, it is sorrow. Number 5, it is pains. So there are 5 emotions which we have taken. Now in other words, one word definition I'm giving you. Exclamatory sentences are those sentences which emotes are called as exclamatory sentences. Hope so this is more clear to you now. Okay. Now what is the basic rule of framing an exclamatory sentence? An exclamatory sentence, it begins with an exclamatory word. It carries an exclamatory mark, and then the entire sentence framed, and then it either ends up with a full stop or it ends up with a question mark. Now this way we have to frame an exclamatory sentence. Number 1, we have to add an exclamatory word. It carries an exclamatory mark, and then the entire sub-sentence framed with the given formula subject plus verb plus object. And if it is a question word, then it is started with WH words. Okay. Now these types of sentences are also called as spontaneous sentences. Okay. Now I'm framing. I'm giving you the examples of it. Number 1, I'm giving you first using it for happiness. Wow. We won the match. Okay. It can also be used as hooray. We have won the match. Okay. I am at a beautiful picnic spot, having a beautiful scenario. Standing there, I'm admiring the beauty of that spot, and I use your word, wow. What a beauty. Wow, what a beauty. Okay. It carries a question mark because the sentence started with the question word what. I'm using it for sadness. Oh, it is too hot. Okay. Then I'm coming for sorrow, framing a sentence, using it. Alas, he died after long sufferings. This shows the sorrow. Then pains. I'm making the 5th sentence. Ouch. spinning down from the step and I had a fall. Holding my knee, the words which spontaneously way out from my mouth was, ouch, it's paining. I hope so. This particular sentence clear to you? Sentences which emote. Emotions are like happiness, joy, sadness, sorrow and pain. The rule implied is begins with an exclamatory verb, carries an exclamatory mark, and then the entire sentence is free, ending up with a full stop or a question mark. I've given you a number of examples which are clear to you, may be clear to you, and the exclamatory sentences will be very, very clear to you. I start with the fourth type of sentence, which is called as an imperative sentences. Giving you a clear definition. Imperative sentences are those sentences which shows request, commands, and orders. Okay, I hope the definition is very clear. Imperative sentences are those sentences which shows request, commands and orders. Now, giving you an example. Number one, sentence we have to frame showing request. So we have one request word that is please. So I'll be using it, and through which easily you can identify that this is an imperative sentence showing request. So, number first, please submit your copy copies for correction. Number one. Okay. Use the word please which shows request. Number second sentence. Submit your copies for correction. Okay. This shows directly we are passing an instruction. These types of sentences are called as commands. Okay. Third sentence, where you don't have a choice, you have to do that work immediately. Now, submit your copies for correction immediately. Now, you don't have any choice. You have to submit your copy immediately. One thing I'm telling you, in case of request, we have a choice. In case of command, we have a choice. But in case of order, we don't have any choice. The work has to be enunciated. The work has to be completed. The instruction or the order has to be taken up immediately. So that is called as an imperative sentences. I sum up. Types of sentences there are basically four types of sentences. Number one is assertive. All factual sentences are called as assertive sentence. Number two, interrogative sentences. All question-based sentences are called as interrogative sentences. Number third, exclamatory sentence. Sentences which emote or sentences which shows human emotions are called exclamatory sentences. And the last one was imperative sentence. Sentences which shows request, command and orders are called as imperative sentences. I hope so. This video will give you the complete knowledge about sentences and types of sentences. Now, with the given complete basic knowledge, you'll be able to frame correct, very meaningful and very clear sentences. So thank you very much.